Welcome back to Caffeine Confessionals. We're here to talk about the challenge, Battle for a New Champion, Episode 8. My name is Allan. I'm joined by my lovely co-host. We have the Southern Luke Muncie,
What's up, guys?
the Vermontian Zoe Trimboli.
Hi, everyone.
We got another mercenary elimination. We had some drinks thrown. The challenge is in full swing. How are we feeling?
The foot is still on the gas, so I'm feeling good.
Yeah, let's keep it coming. I'm into it. I haven't felt like a season has been this intriguing in a while, just in terms of like every season I've watched in recent history feels like it's a foregone conclusion. Like we're just moving towards an end that we all can sort of predict. And I don't know where this is going. So that's exciting.
There's something really weird online where there's so many people who are very clearly just not watching the show or watching with malintent, in my opinion, because this show has not been a bad season. I'm not saying it's been an amazing, great season that's had me like on the edge of my toes, but it's been a good show. We've seen a lot of people develop into better characters, better competitors. There's a lot going on, and there's a lot to like from this season. And I don't like how much people are just not even giving it a chance or just shitting on it.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like the last couple seasons, I've definitely shit on the seasons. But like Zoe said, last season it was either Johnny and Nani or Tori and Devin. Like you kind of assumed, and that happened. And very end, the two teams. The seasons previous, it was like, okay, CT's going to win, but with who? This season, I really have no clue. And each week it's something different. It's different like dynamics, which if there's going to be a future for the challenge, as much as the viewership is low right now, develop some of these characters, throw in some vets for next season, get some of the old fan base back, and you really can keep moving forward if they do it right. So I'm feeling good.
Yeah, I think it's hard for a lot of returning fans to not see as many familiar faces or people that they've really grown to love. But I love the show itself. Like, obviously, I have some favorites, but I think that there's enough quality cast members that this season doesn't need the vets.
I agree. And I want to say this because this is my thought. I've tweeted negatively about this, but not that I'm not liking the show. But for seasons, we got all these bad rookies or underdeveloped rookies. Okay. And the vets were the superstars. And the regular general audience grew to see that as like, hey, this is what I should expect. So you take those sideline characters and throw them all in the season. Those people aren't going to watch. We're watching. It's going well. But I can't fault those people for being like, I'm going to take a break from this season. I wish they wouldn't, but it's also Challenge Productions' fault for under-editing rookies. It used to not be the case.
It's not helping either that you have cast members who aren't really promoting the season like we talked about, or just throwing shade at it, or even cast members who were on the show where, Melissa and Big T have kind of shaded this cast a lot and like its ability. And look, I get it. They feel negative about it because they're clearly on the outside of this game. But them as individuals are putting up star-making performances on this season, and like they look great. They're making this season very entertaining. Stop talking so negatively about it. Talk about it positively because you're looking awesome. You are literally stars of the show. Build yourself up. Don't bring yourself down.
Yeah. If anything, to like put a positive spin on it, there's fodder for the show, but I'm with you. Like sometimes it gets a little icky and it like raises like ethical questions and that makes people not want to watch or not want to interact. And maybe those ethical dilemmas are actually happening, but I don't know. I agree. More positivity could maybe help.
Well, on sort of like a side note, even Jordan pointed out on Instagram the other day that the challenge doesn't tag its cast members in its posts. So they're not even doing a good job of like helping their contestants grow their audience so people will come back and engage with the content, whether it's like online or the actual show. So if the challenge wants people to pay attention to its cast members, then you have to tell them who they are and where they can find them and follow them online.
Yeah. I watched that video too, Zoe. And for those who haven't, I would suggest going to watch it. It was really good. Jordan talked about like how reality TV stars are so replaceable. And like if they want more money because they know they have star power, Jordan being a person who could do that now, the challenge or any show could very likely just say, sorry, we'll pay somebody $500 and they'll do it because they want to be on TV. So that's a great point. Tag them on Instagram. That's the bare minimum. and gets people to look into them, get interested in their lives, want to come back for another season.
I'm old, so just having covered this show for like a long time, I remember when you would do this show and you would get 50,000 followers on Twitter overnight, or like some amount like that. And then this week, I mean, literally last week on Twitter, Emmanuel was getting clowned for having less than 2,000 followers on Twitter. It's one of those things where it's just such a different world than it used to be, and it's crazy. It just the challenge is in a different space completely.
Yeah. But we're feeling good about it.
Feeling good about it. And as Luke said, it feels like almost anyone could win. Let's jump straight into the episode finally. And let's talk about how that episode started, where we saw the US/major alliance consisting of Jay and Michelle talking about who they should target next for elimination. This season, I think one of the big complaints has been we're basically seeing the Vacation Alliance with new faces. But I think this little moment was a clear depiction of who's playing the game for themselves versus who's playing scared and basic. And to me, we've thrown some shade at Jay, but he wants to go after Zara because she's clearly the biggest threat in the final, and that's a smart move. Zoe and I were gushing about Zara just a couple weeks ago and how she's such a massive threat to win. I don't want to see her gone, but it's the right play to make, in my opinion.
I agree. I think Jay looks really smart this season. Past seasons, he's just kind of looked like a dummy a lot. But put him without some of these vets who can outthink him every day of the week, he's doing a good job. And as far as Zara goes, she might be a rookie, or I guess she's not a rookie. This is her third season. But I don't know if we'll ever see her back because she's been pretty boring thus far. But I wouldn't want to go against her in a final. She would whoop my ass. She's incredible.
Yeah, she's in ridiculously good shape. She's smart. And I think an underlying factor about her that's so threatening is she's really socially connected. People really like her. I swear, every shot that she's on screen, she's arm in arm with a different person.
Yeah. And I think I said this last week, but she hung out with Mariah after Ride or Dies last season and after World Championship had filmed. So she had that in, and from that, that kind of makes her have to have those other girls. She might be number 7, but that's better than being Big Team Melissa at this point.
Yeah, and when those things start to fracture and those girls start to look at each other, then you kind of have wiggle room. Then it's a 3 and a 4, and things can happen.
And if Zara, as a good competitor, if she wins the right challenge and leverages that power, makes the right move, she could go really far. I would really love to see that because I think she is a fantastic player. We saw a lot. I think at the same time that we also saw some people who are just playing petty and dumb. Emmanuel is still just going after we have to go after the big team, Melissa's of the house. It's and Jay very clearly brings up they're not the biggest threats in the final.
Right. And I still don't get where this Emmanuel Melissa beef started. Did I miss part of an episode? I feel like it was just randomly one time that she was like, "Don't say my name," and then from that they were like, "Oh, let's continue to talk about one another." What has happened?
Do you think he's just not over her altercation with Berna? That that is a weird sticking point for him?
Maybe. Because he is close there. You're right.
And
that's probably it.
Being able to let go of that. I also just think that any person who he's knows is not his buddy is a threat to him. Because I think there's some people he has good vibes with and they're friends and they joke around. But I don't think he has that with those girls.
No.
I think Jay, Nerys, and Michelle are not very Vacation Alliance players. They are very much players who are going for themselves, and they are going to play whatever is the best game for them. Olivia, I think she's more of a Vacation Alliance type player. And she went into this long speech about Melissa as a threat. And here's the thing. I think Melissa is scrappy. I think she can play dirty in the right moments and pull some stuff off. The way she was hyping up Melissa just wasn't accurate to the player I've seen this season. I don't think Melissa's anywhere near the top 5 for female competitors. And that's not even me saying she's bad. I think Melissa's good. But to me, it was a very fake cop-out speech.
I'm going to disagree.
Okay.
I totally get what you're saying. I don't sense Vacation Alliance. I think all these girls actually dislike each other. And it kind of just makes sense why they're doing it, but I think they would cut each other in a heartbeat when it came down to it, whereas Tori and Anissa would never. Josh, Fessy would never. Understandably so, like not hating on them having outside relationships. I've not even once had the Vacation Alliance thought come into my mind because I just think that there's such shallow like for one another.
So it's the Miami Girls Trip Alliance where 5 girls go to Miami and only 2 come back friends.
Yes.
Yeah, I see that. I don't think that the depth of those relationships is there. I do think they came in with a plan, but they definitely are not gonna ride for each other in that way. Olivia, to me, though, is a bit of a confessional gangster, or at least like she talks things up in a confessional in a way that it doesn't play out in the house and with what she does. I think she is great for TV. I think she knows how to be engaging on screen, but I don't think that she means half of what she says.
I just recently watched Olivia's Love Island season because I never have. She was background character for like 21 out of 29 episodes. And when she realized that America had a favorite guy, she quickly coupled up with him and like made it seem like they were in love. And she ended up winning that way. Can't fault to the game plan, but like I agree, Zoe. I think she knows how to pander to an audience, which is great. That's what reality TV needs a lot of times. But yeah, she says a lot, and then she's in the room and just sits there and goes, "Okay." I mean, there have been a few times she's been like, "That's not a smart decision," but like I wouldn't call that abrasive. I would just say that's her saying, "Let's not do that."
No, she's kind of a narrator right now. It feels like I don't feel like she's part of the things going on. She's there and she's witnessing them and she's telling us about them, but she's not making moves.
You saying that narrator comment made me think. I don't think we have a narrator for this season. Big T maybe, but like I just think of like the Jimmys of the past, Davon, like they clearly narrated a season in a way that was interesting. I don't think we have anybody that does it that I'm like, oh, it's their confessional. I can't wait to hear their take on this.
I don't know if enough happens.
Right.
And
maybe Berna.
Well, I think the thing is too, with few conflicts that we've had, we hear directly from the people involved about it. We're not getting an outside perspective on that. Like they are cut into confessionals, and I would be more interested to see how everyone else feels about watching those things happen.
Yeah.
I want to hear what people thought of what Corey did last week. Like, I want to hear about when people start talking about like the Raven Melissa fight. Like, I want to hear other perspectives on those things.
Yeah, I do feel like one downside of like modern challenge seasons, and maybe this has been a thing forever and I'm just nitpicking now, but I think they're more so going for sound bites in confessionals, sound bites that'll never be used, but like there's no real depth of, hey, tell me how you really feel about what just happened. It's like, Corey got my shirt, blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't know. It's so surface level. It's me being negative. Sorry. But yeah.
I think that sums up that portion of the stuff. Let's just talk very briefly about the little challenge cameo, and that was Kyle with his son Crew giving a FaceTime call to Big T, which caught me by surprise. I definitely wasn't expecting to see Kyle's face this season.
I agree. And it feels like Kyle's been gone forever. And this is just his second flagship show he's not been on. But we've also had like 28 other iterations since then. I mean, cool, I guess.
Kyle does nothing for me. And I don't feel like him and Big T are that close. I don't get the vibe that Kyle really cares about any women, frankly, at all. So I didn't. That was my immediate reaction. Was like, I don't think he cares about any women on this show. I think he has clearly been really close with Johnny and like Zach, and is that it? Johnny and Zach?
Yeah, because honestly, even seasons where like it would have behooved him to be really close to Big T, I can't think of when he was. Like Total Madness, like they were kind of close, but War of the Worlds 2, he didn't know her, so that's not a good example. But like Spies, Lies, and Allies, they were in the Vet Alliance together. I can't recall seeing them like hanging out talking. I've seen them on Instagram in years past, like hanging out since the show. So maybe just being in the same vicinities helped that. But enough so that's who you're going to get a phone call from.
When was the last time Big T and Kyle were on a FaceTime call together outside of this? Never.
They never have. Yeah.
Like, I'm not
And
buying it.
it was an uncomfortable FaceTime too, because like the conversation died and like the baby was just sitting there like, why am I FaceTiming this person I've never met? And Big T was like, well, I've really got to go. It's like, no, you're in the challenge house. This is one of your days off. There's nothing else to do. There's just also nothing else to talk about.
Nothing was said. Nothing was said in that entire conversation, in my opinion, other than like the very like basics. It was not. I agree. It looked like they never even had a FaceTime call like ever before.
Big T was just relaying to Kyle what a loser she felt like because she's on the bottom, out on the outside by herself with Melissa. That was the whole crux of the phone call.
I think MTV was like looking through Big T's phone contacts. It's like, okay, no, I won't call this person. No, I won't call this person. No, okay, I'll do Kyle. That's like that's the worst. That's the only person I'll do. I don't really like him that much, but I'm not giving Les a call. I'm not giving this person a call. I'll call Kyle. I'm okay with him.
I somewhat agree. Bold of you to assume she has his number saved. I don't even text. There was rumor that Kyle was going to be on this season, which could have been fun, I guess, but he's got too many seasons, I think. And honestly, Kyle, as much as he does nothing for me, Zoe, probably a lot of people, his span of the challenge is pretty incredible. Like, he became a face. I wouldn't say face, but like a figurehead right off the bat and did what, 7, 8 seasons in a row?
Why? Yeah, there was a point where he did like the most in a row.
Crazy. But for a season like this, it would make more sense for Big T to FaceTime a champ.
Well,
like have,
I guess so.
Yeah. Have Jenny West FaceTime in.
They're not going to do that. They don't
like Jenny West.
West anymore, apparently.
Jenny West, who will be up at 4 a.m. to live tweet the challenge and drink wine, she would have picked up that phone call at any time of the day. She would have picked up that phone call whenever.
God love her. Jenny. She was just hanging out with Tori, Rachel Robinson, Josh, and Sebastian, Survivor Challenge USA guy. Yeah. And I'm like, is this like pre-gaming or do you just really want to latch on? I don't know. I like her. I don't know. I feel like somebody else could have been called or no one at all. Like that 5 minutes of my time could have really been shifted to something else.
I'm just going to assume they were filming Rachel's little workout series that they do on YouTube. That's my assumption. Because if not, that's just a chaotic grouping of people.
Yeah. I'm kind of shocked too that Melissa didn't get on the FaceTime with Kyle, but maybe they're not allowed to talk to each other.
I mean, Melissa wasn't picking up the FaceTime call with her boyfriend. I mean,
gosh, if you keep up on Twitter.
I'm guessing Kyle's baby mama has put Melissa on a do not call list.
Yeah. Heavily speculated, allegedly, that Total Madness, Kyle and Melissa were hooking up the entire time. When he had a girlfriend and she was unknowingly pregnant, not by him, but like, just makes it really complicated.
Yeah, it was the running joke that like Kyle was going to be the father of Melissa's baby.
Yeah. And I love the episode where she makes out with Nani and people are like, is Nani the father? It was just funny to me. But yeah, that FaceTime happened.
That awful Zoom challenge reunion they did was abominable, but it was worth it for the little 10-second clip of Melissa and Nani making out for me. That was like, it was peak.
Yeah. The shit they should have shown, which it's like, why didn't you show it?
Who leaves that out?
Spies, Lies, and Allies. Ashley hooking up with like a ton of people. Like, put that in the show. We want to see it.
Even if it's just a montage, we don't need all the details. Just give us the little clip of them scurrying out of the bedroom the next day.
Right.
Or the bunk bed.
Yeah.
We're having fun. Right. We're having fun right now. We're having a lot of fun right now because we're just at the daily challenge. The daily challenge, here's what it is. They're playing the same elimination that CT and J played on Total Madness, where teams will have an allotted amount of time to barricade a door with chains, rope, cement blocks, giant things just to barricade it. You have to barricade your 2 doors. The first team to get within the other team's 2 doors, climb up this little building up to the top, and ring the bell. gets the win. Do we have the teams?
Hell no. Sorry, I'm saying a lot of.
I think I can do it. Sort of. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, so orange team, there was Nerys, Zara, Raven, Jay, Ed, James. That's quite a few. Help me out, guys. Who else is on that team?
I have no clue.
Okay, so the orange team was Corey.
Kyland.
The orange team was Corey, James. Oh fuck. We're gonna edit this in post. We're gonna. This is. Yeah. The orange team was Corey, James, Jay, Mariah, Emmanuel, Raven, Nerys, Berna, and Zara. The blue team was Horacio, Kyland, Melissa, Michelle, Big T, Olivia, Colleen, Asaf, and Ed.
I mixed up Ed. Okay.
If you could have offered me $1 million, I never would have got that. I will say I like this daily because it's one where like it's pretty cut and dry. Nobody can say, "Oh, it was rigged." Where's the clock? I didn't love Jay being like, "I'm going to take the wheel because I have done this before and I'm so good at it." I mean, he did do well, but like I still cringe thinking about his elimination against CT. He did great, but like
I think it was an awesome moment. As much as I'll take shots at Jay, I think that was an awesome moment. That was a hype elimination.
Yeah,
fair.
I mean, you have to put yourself in his shoes, right? Like you would never forget that either. You'd be hyping yourself up the rest of your life.
This is true.
If I beat CT in elimination, I would have that bookmark, but I would first have CT's backpack elimination bookmarked, and then I would show someone, "Hey, you ever seen this?" And then be like, "Now here's me beating this person." Then I'd show them the second
backpack, and then his not so fast against Darrell.
Ooh.
That, and then that's if I'm Jay, I have those 2 eliminations saved, and then I'm showing them me beating CT in this game.
Jay took the lead for his team. Kylan did for his team because Kylan won not so fast on USA 1. Here's what the elimination came down to, in my opinion. Jay's team was able to get hands on some chains. The other team wasn't. They fought for it. They literally wrestled back and forth for it, and eventually Jay's team won over the chains. Having those chains was so instrumental in the type of lock you could put around the door, whereas the ropes are just easier just to take apart. They might be heavier, but they're easier to take apart. And that's it. That's literally all it came down to. I think Kylan actually did a pretty good job. And they tried to make fun of Kylan, but he was trying his best without the chains, whereas they had it. And that's what the daily challenge came down to.
Yeah.
I liked watching the tug of war over the chains. And then I thought it was funny when they were all tied up in that, realizing how important the chains were and how much both teams wanted them. But they were just outmatched physically, the blue team. They were getting dragged towards the orange team's structure.
Yeah.
And they just completely gave up because we're like, no, this isn't working. We're wasting too much time and energy here for a battle that we're losing. But I don't think Kylan did terribly. I just think his vibe is weird.
Yeah, I hate to say it, because like he was fine on Big Brother, and I watched that season. I watched live feeds, which I never do, but like I like that season. The Challenge USA, he was fine enough. Just strange this season, I feel.
Like Kylan.
I was just saying, I think he's just kind of a know-it-all.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, and he's not good enough for it to come across well.
Yeah. I don't know. He definitely didn't do himself any favors on this episode, like in multiple ways, not just this daily. I don't know.
Kylan is a student of the game, as we talked about. Like, he watched every challenger, he's trying to analyze them, and he has the idea of what a challenger should be, and that's what he's trying to be rather than just being himself at times. And that, I think, is the problem, because he's too in his head of what he wants to be versus just being Kylan.
Well, and I wonder, because like he's been open about that he's on the autism spectrum, and I wonder sometimes if that is him being Kylan also, though.
Yeah.
Like if that's him studying other people on the challenge to learn how to be a challenger, that tracks for someone on the autism spectrum. So like it makes sense in a way. And it makes sense also why, like, socially he can be sort of abrasive sometimes, because that is something that people on the autism spectrum can struggle with. But like, yeah, it was just funny. It was funny watching the whole thing go down, and he was like being very obsessive over like his knots and very methodical and taking a really long time.
He was, and I actually thought at one point the chain comes up and like whips him in the face and like gashes his face open. I thought this actually might be one of the best things for his team, just to get somebody else in there working on it, because he was the sole guy doing it.
Well, and I was thinking too.
Well, that was when they were taking it apart. Sorry.
Well, his team was losing out on his muscle by him being so methodical with that too. Like, he's one of the bigger guys. He's more helpful in moving that stuff, and they didn't have him for. They had 20 minutes. He was still working on that knot with 7 minutes left.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're right. His vibe is off. Because like my mindset coming into this was that I think objectively Kylan did the best he could with that one knot as like their sole line of protection, because they didn't get the chains. And after getting whipped by the chain himself, and how close it actually ended up being, like the end result, where they were just outside the door, almost opening it up. It was like a very close daily challenge. I thought he did a pretty good job. Considering the circumstances, but you're right, his vibe is completely off, and everyone in his team is talking about it, so they have to be right if all other 7 people are saying it.
Yeah, there's the unwritten or the unspoken, but not it's being spoken at this point. People are worried about him in general because of his allegiances to Melissa too. Like, I just don't think people really trust him. So when he puts himself in those positions as like a leader on a team, it's a really easy opportunity for people to like want to toss him in to elimination because they're not sure where his loyalty lies.
Yeah. And he's only known her for a couple weeks, maybe jump ship, because he's heavily connected on the U.S. side.
Also, talking about the vibes being off, like their relationship makes no sense.
None.
There's no chemistry there.
Unless we're missing something, but like I feel like we'd be shown. Yeah.
Melissa's known to find a shield. Like, Melissa went for Nicole Zanata, okay? Like, let's be real.
Ugh.
Girl, she's politicking all the time.
Yeah. For sure. The daily though, like when they went to go take it apart, the only thing that stood out to me, like worth talking about, and correct me if I'm wrong, I just was kind of like, okay, let's do this. The team that lost kept trying to pry the door open while someone was trying to untie the chains. And Olivia was like, this is not helping. Like, stop.
Yeah, they literally got a piece of wood and were trying to wedge the door open. And I was just like,
what was the thought process? Or was there one at all?
I just don't think our challengers are always the brightest bulbs in the box. Like,
like I was sitting on my couch, like, stop doing that. That is so stupid. And not even the heat of the moment would I ever be like, let me try to pry this open while someone is trying to untie a chain. No, I'd stand back and wait.
It's like watching sometimes like my kids do like STEM projects. You just have to like sit back and be like, yo, do
Let
it.
the framework here.
Whatever you think is gonna work. I'm not touching this one.
Yeah.
This cast has a lot of square peg into round hole people, unfortunately. Little other complaint I had, and it's a complaint we had from a few weeks ago. TJ again just split up the teams by you're standing there. really easily could have been a good like schoolyard pick of teams that would have made it a lot more fun and interesting. Instead, once again, Melissa and Big T are on the same team. They're both up for elimination because they lose the daily challenge. There was, I think, a fun aspect of like half the people being safe puts a lot of people up for risk that wouldn't normally. But again, it's just annoying to see them both get their game put on the line in that moment.
Yeah, and it could have been fun if their team had won because who would they target?
Give us a
Zara, I
schoolyard.
guess.
Just give us a schoolyard pick. I want to see what these people think of each other. And they could have just done it by using like Corey and Emmanuel as the people choosing because they were the ones on the floor for elimination that didn't get eliminated.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a good idea. You're full of them. That's a really good idea.
It's not hard.
God, that's great. The winners, though, they have to decide who's going into elimination. They decide, well, the majority decides, let's run it back and do Melissa. James and Zara speak up saying, no, they won't do that. Like they're looking out for Big T and Melissa. Like they're not. They're actually like they're standing UK international strong. Everyone else though is just like rolling over them.
Yeah, they were completely outnumbered. It was never going to work.
Right. And I will say too, James and Zara have that kind of freedom to do that because they know that Mariah will still go to bat for them with the other people. So like, I don't think it's that bold of a move to be like, we want to save Melissa. Because they know it's going to happen. They just look good to her if she comes back and she's in power.
I will say comparatively, Callum rolled over every time. Callum just rolled over at every single junction with like the Americans. Even that one week where like Kieran and James tried to do the burn vote thing in case Huey couldn't call out certain people, and Callum just voted with the U.S. people again. Like that's the exact same type of thing. That was Chauncey winning that week. Never mind. But yeah, they stick up further at least. And coming out of this, Melissa is being angry because Melissa's been angry all season.
She was pissed. It was so funny, like watching her try to say how calm she's been, because it's so like her version of calm is not other people's version of calm. But like, granted, like yeah, I do think she's been chill for Melissa.
Right.
She's
Do I think she overreacted because the writing was on the wall? Sure. Am I thankful she did because we need like entertaining things? Yes. Well, we'll get to it. But yeah, she's held her own for the most part this season. As far as her emotions go.
She was just like pacing around after the elimination, like pissed and surprised, and I was like, is she actually surprised? Is this her acting? Because I need to know what it is. I want to know if she's just like really playing it up for the cameras, or if she really didn't think that was going to happen. Because I gotta know.
I think she plays a lot of for the cameras, which is fine. Fine. But like, we're gonna talk about let's jump to after that, the aftermath, and we can talk more about Melissa playing it up for the cameras.
Yeah.
Does this mean we jump to the club now?
Yes.
All right. We get to the club. Big T is the one likely going into elimination because, of course, they're going to throw Big T against her again. Melissa's like, all right, I got to work. I got to plot. Instead of socializing with these people, I'm going to stir the pot. And let's talk about it. Melissa's a seasoned reality TV star. She debuted on X on the Beach, Series 2 in the UK, back in 2015. She's been on reality TV for a long time. If you go through the old highlights, she's insane. Like she is like comparatively, as Zoe said, calm to her old days, where she would just say any vile thing in the book, would tear down her opponents in any way. And part of what led to Melissa getting kicked off on Final Reckoning was apparently she was like saying lies about Kayla and stuff like that in the house. That's what created the conflict between them. And she got into those fights with Cam and stuff where people said she was, again, lying a lot.
Yeah. At the club, and I love this. I think it's great. She's going to the people that were on the winning team and saying, I'm hearing that it was you that said my name. I'm hearing it from a lot of people. Now, instead of reading through that like a normal human would, and saying that's not true. Like just accept defeat and with grace, the people spiral a little bit. Well, maybe not spiral because Mariah, and I did skip past this part, so I'm going to backtrack, but it's relevant. After the daily, they're in the house, and Melissa and Big T try to press Mariah, and Mariah just says, "I'm sorry, I can't tell you. I want to be your friend." Womp womp. In the club, it's kind of one and the same. She's like, "It wasn't me. I can't say whatever." So then they make the decision to call over Berna. Am I correct in that? That's who they should have started with.
Actually, let's kind of backtrack. Let's talk about this like little Mariah portion for a bit.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, I don't care.
All right. So the Mariah segment you're talking about, she's like, I think Mariah pretty much told Melissa like, no, it's going to be you and Big T, but I still want to be your guys' friends, like outside the house. It's just the way the game lied. These are my pregame alliances. I thought she was actually pretty like forthright, unlike most of this cast, who's just literally lying to her. I think Mariah was actually just being completely honest. And then at the club, as you're saying,
Alvin knows I disagree. I think this is so boring. Like, play the game.
I think Mariah is playing the game though. I think Mariah is very clearly like telling them with a smile, and then at the club, when she does, when Melissa has stuff with Berna, Mariah is like, "Are you an idiot?" She's obviously lying to you because she's playing the game, and Mariah is like one of the only like few people in the house who's playing the game for herself. I think in a lot of ways, between her showmance at James and just the way she's maneuvering, and she talks about like, well, what does getting rid of Big T make sense for my game? Because Big T has me high on her priority list. I think Mariah's playing for herself in a way that I just didn't even expect, and I think she's very transparent. I was shitting on Mariah for 7 to 8 weeks before this. I think she's showing up. I think she's playing the game for herself.
I think it's a very short-sighted playing for herself, though. I think that she's not actually doing things that are going to help her game at all. It's just she's trying to keep her friends around. Because Big T and Melissa don't help her game by staying around. Like, they're not protecting her from anyone. James doesn't even help her game by staying around. It's a very emotional, like, I just want the people I like here. Because now, the more she tries to stick her neck out for the people, the more that she's falling to the bottom of that American alliance.
I agree. Like, Zara and James should have been cut off. She had the perfect in with the Ride or Die girls. And she still does for all it matters. But, like, I don't know. I just feel like she could have said to Melissa, like, the team decided it is what it is. Like, I hate that it happened, but, like, it's the game. Melissa knows this more than anybody. And I understand your point, Allan. Like, she's keeping it nice so that Melissa doesn't have a vendetta against her. It's just not like the kind of gameplay that.
I just think Mariah is nice. I don't even think Mariah is a vendetta thing. I think Mariah is just a nice person. And that's the main thing.
I also think Melissa's scary. Because I don't think it's that big of a deal for someone to say, to like a normal person, to say that you guys went in last week, neither of you went home. It was pretty much decided that it was going to be the same this week. And even though I didn't really, that's not what I wanted to, because you guys are my friends, no one was going to change it because nobody wanted to take another shot. Like, you can say that without putting a target on a single person, because it really wasn't a single person. That's the facts. Yeah. It was not a single person that made that decision. It was a group decision. But I think Melissa's scary and unhinged, and no one wants to tell Melissa things she doesn't want to hear. So then they just started playing this game of like, I can't tell you, it's a secret.
I do want to. Here's just a thought in my mind where like she is hurting her relationship with the Ride or Die girls. I agree with that. I don't think Mariah is gonna beat Nerys or Olivia in a final because she's just not as good when it comes to puzzles and mental stuff. So when I see like Olivia, like, when I see the Big T and Melissa type stuff, it's like, well, she can outrun them completely. Whereas like Nerys and Olivia can keep pace with Mariah, but I think they'll beat her when it comes to the mental stuff. And so when I see like the connections Mariah is making, like the people she's trying to keep in her game are people she can beat in the final. And Mariah's strong, but she's not a complete player. And I think that's one of the things where the game she's playing is definitely emotional, but the people she's keeping around her are not people who can beat her, though.
But do you think it's realistic for her to expect Melissa and Big T to make it all the way to a final at this point with the writing that's been on the wall?
No, it's not. It's definitely not. But if one of the, if one of them can get there, because we are only, I mean, we're down to what, 9 women in the house, so we're just 5 eliminations away. It's not too far away.
I'm gonna take a stab in the dark that those girls are gonna be put in every single time until it's done. Like they're just the easy target at this point. Now,
We've
if
all-
Mariah,
No, I was just say we've all seen how that works. Once people say a name, it just that's the name they say until that person's gone.
yeah, and if Melissa and Big T could stick around as numbers dwindle, Mariah could jump ship and say, "I'm gonna take James and Melissa and Big T, who I feel like I could beat all in a final." And maybe the time's not now. But I think if she did that, I'd be like, "You are smart. Like, that's a great game move." But we shall see.
The other risk in that is that I also don't see them winning a daily challenge. So then you're really like rolling the dice. Can I touch quickly on when Melissa's lying to Berna though?
Yes.
Because that was
we're back,
hilarious. Melissa lying to Berna and Berna having no idea, and part of it being a language thing. And when Mariah comes over and she like drags Mariah over, she's like, I need someone else to listen to this. I need another witness who was there. And then she's like, tell her that's how it happened. And then Melissa runs off and Mariah's like has to explain to Berna that Melissa was lying to her face. And Berna's just completely baffled. She's like, why would she lie? I don't understand.
Berna, she doesn't like you. In case you didn't get that.
It's not even that she doesn't like her. It's just like she's trying to get information and you're a weak link. Like she's hoping that she's going to get you flustered so you're going to say something. Mm-hmm. It was so funny.
Yeah. Poor Berna.
Poor Berna.
Poor us.
After the daily even, like Melissa specifically mentioned that she was mad at Berna and Raven because they're players who she thought were on the outside, who should protect her because they're all on the outside together, which that's a decent point, but also you can't blame them specifically. She was going to do it though also because she knew those are the two most volatile people who could potentially put a target on themselves in some way, and maybe just shift the game a bit, maybe not even for this week, but just going forward. Because I mean, we saw Raven literally pin a target on herself before and go into elimination. However, the scene between Melissa and Raven, I don't even know how we got to the point it did. I'm gonna be honest. I thought I was smoking something to see how it escalated to where it did.
I have a thought. She knew not to do with Mariah because Mariah wouldn't react. Like Mariah would have sat there and be like, "What?" Berna has called bully. She doesn't want to be called bully again. I think she thought she'd get a reaction out of Raven. And that irritates me a little bit because the conversation was pretty straightforward of Raven being like, it was a team decision. We made it together. I'm not going to be hassled about it. We're having a fun night. And out of nowhere, the glass is picked up and thrusted onto Raven.
So this was a moment I feel really confident that Melissa was wholeheartedly playing it up for TV because when they get pulled apart and they start screaming at each other, she's smiling. Like, she cannot stop smiling while she's screaming and pissed at Raven. And I was like, oh, this isn't real. This is just you knowing that you're getting camera time right now.
Yeah.
That's enough to read on the situation.
Zoe, I fully agree. Also, that was the most full drink I've ever seen thrown on a reality show. That was like Raven tried to throw her drink back, but she had almost drank her entire drink, so she had like nothing to throw. It was, Luke, I'm with you. It was a regular conversation. The way it escalated to that point, I was like, did I miss 2 minutes of the show? Did I walk away? I mean, obviously there's the power of editing, but what the fuck happened?
Well, and that's why Raven was so pissed afterwards, and I was totally with her when everyone's like consoling Melissa while she's fake crying. Yeah. I was like, if that was me, if I was the person that was being sane and everyone was over there coddling this psychopath, I would be so pissed. I don't even care if you know it's fake and you know it's for TV. Like sitting there covered in Diet Coke and everyone is like wiping away her tears while she's bringing up her son. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, I
It's her
would
daughter.
get so mad.
Um, it's her daughter. But you know, she's a mother. That's all we need to know. I thought the same thing, Zoe. I would be absolutely livid. I would say something. I don't even care if it mess up my game. I would say, are you all kidding me? This is the person you want to target and get out of the game that threw that on me unprompted, and you're over there consoling her, telling her it's okay and that you get it. You didn't even come to check on me. And of course, Allan said the power of editing, or maybe Zoe said, somebody said it, could have made things different. But somebody does say, like, or she says, and they're over there with her. And the faces she was making, I was screenshotting. They were funny.
I was with her. And I
Yeah.
think part of the reason that Melissa's so bitter is because she knows there's people like Raven, Berna, Colleen who don't have these genuine friendships, and Melissa feels like she's friends with these people, and in so many ways that's been enough for her in the past, but it's not enough this season, and she's getting really pissed about it. It's just like, that's where you have to be able to, like, I think she can separate game and real life, but like, this is the game that you're not on their team. No matter how much they think Berna's weird and Raven's crazy and Colleen's just wallpaper, like, they're still going to keep them around over you.
Yeah.
Dude, I would have had a hard time not throwing Melissa over that bar.
And I was shocked too that they allowed her to like run back up on Raven without security stepping in. I mean, Ed put his hands up, but I don't know.
I wanted Ed kicked out of the house in that moment. Like, I wanted,
Me too.
Kick him off this show right now for trying to stop this fight, for trying to stop good TV. Boo this man. Get him out of here.
It's like when Melissa and Burnham were going at it, like Emmanuel stepped in the middle. It's like, back away. Let this happen.
You're wallpaper. Go back to being wallpaper. Like, know your place. Know your place. You don't get in the middle of stuff like this when actual entertaining TV is happening.
How did Ed get on this show? He was an alt for Spies, Lies, and Allies.
How did he make it over Johnny Middlebrooks?
That's exactly what I was about to say. He could have so filled his spot, and we would have had a totally different season. I believe it.
Johnny's having drinks thrown at him by both those ladies if he's on the show.
And he's rubbing it on his shirt and like smiling the whole time because he doesn't care. Oh, gosh.
Zoe, I was there with you too. Though. Like when she's like, I'm only here for my daughter, I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, just
keep that shit to yourself right now. You don't get to throw a drink on someone, then start crying about your kid. Like, I
think she's a great mom. I fully support her. I love Yenna. But when she said it in that moment, I was just like, get out of my face. Like, you come on. You don't have to lie to me that blatantly right now.
Well, and it's like, you're not the victim here.
You're not. Like,
the whole thing was too much. Great TV. Loved watching it. I would have liked to see more of it.
I want to be clear. Like, we're all sitting here sounding exasperated and like being like frustrated, but that is because it was like, it was good TV because it created this reaction. Like,
yes,
I want to feel a reaction when there's conflict.
It literally made me. Yeah, it made me in my head say, well, wow, they need both those girls on 40. Like, let's carry the storyline out, which is what we need on these shows. So as much as Melissa looks delusional, I love delusional people. They're my favorite. It's perfect.
You need to sprinkle them in. They don't need to be everybody. You got to sprinkle them in.
And here's the thing. Melissa's not always delusional. Like, she is a character who can go up and down, and that's beautiful.
As you saw on her face with how calculated that fight was.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Everybody, when you hear this, go wind it back and watch her face and how she's smiling through this confrontation.
Yeah.
So Melissa threw a drink, a lot of a drink. Someone who was in the splash zone just hilariously taking a lot of the drink was Colleen. And we're going to mention her because she actually got confessionals and screen time this week after not for many weeks. And I'll be real with you. They went nowhere. She had a whole scene talking to someone where I thought she was going to explain a story, and then they just moved on from it. They just showed us Colleen to explain that she could potentially go into elimination as a red herring. I'm over it. I'm almost with all my stock on Colleen.
Go
So
for it.
I feel for Colleen because okay, so she went to school, she's got training as a therapist. She's like a together human being, which I think doesn't always translate into reality TV well
Mhm.
because she's not falling apart at the smallest bit of conflict. Like she is not making waves. She's just kind of moving quietly in the background. I just think that she's kind of normal. And I think
Right.
that she got attention from Fessy her first season, which worked out for her because she's beautiful. But like, I just don't think she's gonna ever be that interesting because she's chill.
Yeah, and it's no fault of her. I would say yes to the show as well. So like what I'm about to say is going to sound like I'm a huge asshole, and maybe I am. We don't need Colleen on this show. I don't fault her at all for coming on. It makes sense. She probably talked to those ride or die girls through Instagram DMs and said, okay, I can maybe make it far. Even if she didn't, she probably got a check. That was pretty nice. I can't
I
fault
also
her.
I
But let's
I
stop casting people like her.
but I also think she's at a disadvantage with the language barrier too. Like, I would be so curious to watch Colleen on a show where she's speaking German, and if she is the person, what is she the top of the food chain in a group of women because of her social skills and because she can listen to people and empathize with people and get along. Like, it makes it so much harder when it's not in your first language.
She won the mole. Like, that is such a strategic game. I
Isn't
think
she
you're
on The
right.
Bachelor right now?
Oh, I don't know. I don't keep up with her because the challenge never posts her or tags her.
Right.
I don't know, but I agree, Alan. I think it was a red herring that people were starting to say, let's throw her in. And for them to say like she could do well in a final, and I think Melissa could beat Colleen in a final. Like
I don't know.
I
I don't know enough about either of their abilities at this point.
yeah,
I think it would be a toss up. I think Michelle could. I think Nerys could. I think
yeah,
they're my top two in a final. I think and Zara, but I just really don't see Zara getting that far. I think she's too big of a threat and on the wrong side. But I
right.
think Michelle. I would put money on Michelle and Nerys doing the best in a final for women.
Yeah, I agree. We get a really strange scene with Big T giving Ed money trying to bribe him. I didn't shed a single like smirk, laugh. I know that there's a portion of the challenge audience who's going to eat it up. For me, it was just like, this is filler.
Yeah,
I
I don't.
couldn't care less.
Yeah. Can we jump to deliberation?
Yeah,
Yeah, deliberation. Ed even does another BS thing of like, oh, there's going to be a time and a place to stir up the game. This is not the moment I'm voting in Big T, and that sums up my disappointment.
Yeah, he's an idiot. Kylan makes the comment beforehand, though, like, this is the time to take a stand. This is your game. It's in your hands. Quit going with the majority. That's why everybody wanted to say we voted in Melissa. Use your voice. And then Colin votes for Big T to go in. And I loved everybody's reaction. Like, that would rub me the wrong way. Why are you saying this and then doing the opposite when you could just be quiet?
yeah. It's one thing if you want to say that when it comes to your turn and then be like, I'm not going to paint this target on me because you guys have already done this, but I'm getting frustrated with this process. The vibe was off.
The vibe was off.
It's like for that speech, he was studying the Jordan playbook of champions, and then when he came to the vote, he was like, "All right, I'm switching my CT brain now of champions," and it's wildly inconsistent. It's such annoying behavior, and it's gonna put a target on him for next week. I think we saw that even in the trailer, where like people are wising up to it.
Yeah.
Melissa would spiral.
Melissa's already spiraled.
Yeah, well, so speaking of Melissa spiraling, we go. So Big T gets voted in.
Yeah.
And in the elimination, it's once again Melissa and Big T. And we have another mercenary.
Everybody's favorite champion, Casey Clark.
I think genuinely it was the cast's favorite.
Yeah.
Casey.
So I agree. And I sat there and thought every single person on that stage, except for the people who have just done the international season in Holland, who knows her anyways, have done a season with her. So like,
and we know people who meet Casey love Casey.
yeah.
Like, I know that on TV, none of us are super stoked to watch her, but we do know that people really like her. Like, she's someone that everyone gets along with.
And I might be able to vouch for that. So could the two of you, had she actually came to the Challenge Mania event that we bought tickets for and went to. But her and Nani decided to cancel last minute.
Yo.
Anyways, I'm still bitter about that.
Yeah, I mean, you and I flew from the East Coast to San Diego to meet Nani, specifically Nani, and also Casey, and then they bailed last minute, and I've never been so heartbroken in my life.
Yeah. What a weekend. Okay. Casey comes out, and they're all freaking out. And can I just say, I think Zoe was about to say it, so I'm going to steal your thunder. Maybe I won't. The Melissa reaction. You take it.
No, go ahead. Do it.
She was doing way too much. You've done one season with Casey where I can't remember a single interaction you've had versus Casey and Big T, who have done several seasons together. So, like,
I think Melissa just can't be a steady, even person. Like,
yeah. And I guess she's thinking that she'll pull the chaos and like she won't choose Melissa, which I do believe.
yeah, she wouldn't have chosen Melissa or Big T.
Right.
She would have.
But like her being like, I was in that final with her and like I love her. She's one of my favorite girls.
I think she was trying to convince Casey of that, honestly.
Yeah.
I think that was her trying to guilt trip Casey if Casey did pull the chaos thing, not to choose either one of them.
Yeah.
Melissa was like, "Oh, Vienna's first words with Casey." It's like she was just really she was hamming it up.
Vienna is Casey's stepdaughter because Nani's the father.
Oh, there it is.
Casey pulls Big T though. And I felt so dejected for Big T.
And Casey was genuinely bummed about that too.
I loved Casey said the one person I didn't want to go to, the only person I didn't want to go against. And Melissa was like,
yeah, I'm wondering too if even Michelle up there was like
right,
bitter about it, which I don't know why she would be, but again, like Michelle overestimates her connection to people all the time. Yeah, so it's gonna be Big T and Casey in a pole wrestle, which I think everyone knew exactly how that was gonna go the second that was announced.
Yeah.
Could we just? Can I say the negative?
Mm-hmm.
I do not think Casey gave 100% in that elimination until round 3. However, I think Casey even giving 50% going against the Big T that we saw on Double Agents, who got wrecked by Amber in a hall brawl, would not even like big play. It would have been like a 5-second elimination against that Double Agents Big T. Big T has grown exponentially as a competitor, and it's really admirable to watch. I thought she did fantastic, but I just need to get that negative out of the way before we talk about this like as some earnest, like serious greatest pole wrestler ever.
No, I think specifically in round 2, you could see it on Casey's face how much she was phoning it in. And I mean, I don't want to knock Big C because I do agree. I think she's improved. I think she gives her best. I think all the talk about her becoming a champ one day is insane. But like, I think you completely saw on Casey's face that she wasn't trying. I think she was trying to make Big T look good. I think that's actually what she was trying to do in round 2 was make it look like Big T was more of a beast than she was.
I think allegedly that Casey told Big T that after Big T was eliminated when they were in Croatia together. Yeah. I think it was good for Big T. They edited it very well. But it's also Casey.
I don't see Casey losing in a pole wrestle to many females on this show ever.
Ever. And I'm talking some of the greatest of the greats just because it's a specific skill set that I think Casey has.
I think she torches Cara Maria in a pole wrestle. I
I would
think,
love to see it though.
yeah, I'd love to see it, but I think she'd beat her 2-0.
I would like to see her do it with Laurel because Casey's smaller than Laurel. I still think Casey wins. And
Yeah,
that might be unpopular, but like I think Casey's just agile, whereas Laurel's just an athlete. Casey is too, but like she's got the additional agility and like knows where to grip her hands.
And like her frame is just really good for her too. She knows all the
yeah.
positioning.
Casey actually does like upper body strength training, which I think a lot of people don't do a lot of sometimes. I just Casey, round 3, Casey showed how easy this should have been.
Yeah, I agree. It was like
It was basically Nani versus Brittany in that
exile.
exile. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm.
But again, like the big two we saw, like when she debuted, wouldn't even against the Casey wasn't even trying, wouldn't even come close, wouldn't even stand in for 10 seconds. I thought she tried really hard. I thought she showed a lot of heart, and I'm really proud of Big T.
Yeah, she'll never be a champ, like unless it's a team season. And I hate to say that. That sounds so negative. Whoa. But I just say that because TJ says, I'm confident one day you'll be a champ. No, I'm confident one day you'll be like one of the people love to tune in to watch. Yeah, but not a champ.
That's an insane thing to say when there's so many excellent female competitors who have not won. When Kellyanne's never won, when Cam's never won, when like
Dare I say Kayla?
Yeah, like there are really solid female competitors who have not won who are so much better than Big T. I just thought that was a weird thing to say. The fact of the matter is like there's not even guaranteed a female champ on this season that you're on, and there are 6 women on this cast who are infinitely better than Big T.
Yeah. I don't know. She lost with Grace though, which is great, and she can go home and hang out with Kyle
and Crew,
mm-hmm.
whose name I now know.
Yes, thank goodness.
I think that Big T is the sweetest girl in the world, and I think that she does add a little razzle dazzle to the cast. I do like whenever I like as much as I talk shit about her never winning, I think that there needs to be some normal, like not phenom people on a cast to make it interesting, and it gives you those human moments of people like achieving or rising above because you don't expect much from Big T.
Yes. And here's what I'm going to say about Big T. Lovable. I'm so glad they brought her back after World of Warts 2 because she was first boot. Total Madness, she was fun, but like wasn't standout, left on an injury. She needs to say thank you, CT, because on Double Agents, their partnership made people absolutely love her and even made people dislike CT a little bit when he was treating her a little wrong. And people don't do that. Like casual fans, like are diehard CT people. She has people on Twitter who are like diehard stans and the everyday casual, it's Wednesday, I'm going to watch it, not think about it anymore. They love her. So I want to see her back. She's never going to win. But like Zoe said, we don't need every single person being somebody that can win. Like we need some good personality that like maybe on a fluke, maybe on a team season, like maybe they can have an underdog story, but you're not like, oh yeah, they have a chance of winning.
I'm with you, Luke. I'm with you. I'm with both of you right now. I wouldn't mind seeing Big T again, and production absolutely loves her. They're going to be so tired now that they can't do some crazy photoshopping of her in the confessionals, which they've been doing every single week. And it's actually be very fascinating to see how the show goes from here on out now that she's gone, because she's been one of their big confessional characters. Now other people are going to have the ball. Will it be as interesting? Melissa's by herself. The game's going to evolve some crazy ways, and also someone is going to need to be nominated for elimination alongside Melissa, which should lead to some chaos. It's probably going to be Raven or Berna or Colleen, but in a world where somehow those people are safe or something happens, we might get some interesting gameplay finally.
Yeah, I'm hopeful we'll keep this positive streak.
God, how cool would it be to hear the 3 names you just mentioned, realize where they are, and team up with Zara and Melissa to do something?
Mm-hmm.
Like
they could even pull Mariah.
You still have the men on the other side of things too, so because the men can vote on a Women's Day. That scrambles things up a little bit, but curious to see go.
Things can flip. I think about the Invasion Jury 30 era, which is like very similar to this time period. And Tony was very firmly with the vets on Jury 30, and then things flipped where he aligned with Hunter. Hunter wins the daily challenge. Tony makes a key vote that shakes up the game, and suddenly they had the numbers and they took out some people. Something could happen on a season like this where suddenly maybe Zara gets a win, aligns with maybe like a Raven, and maybe they'll flip the numbers in making a key power vote that'll shake up the game. You never really know. I mean, that's hopefully what happens. Could just be the boring outcome, but hopefully it's the fun one.
Yeah. And next episode looks fun.
Yeah, a little bit of romance drama, which we haven't seen anything about prior to this preview. So weird editing, but
yeah. Weird editing because on a previous episode, Colleen had said she liked bad boys and it like flipped to Manuel really quick. And then I think it was this episode though. Yeah. Sorry.
We barely saw Colleen for the first time this week.
With no background. The background's going to come next week when he rejects her at the club to dance with Olivia.
Or maybe they've been hooking up and we don't even know.
Right.
Which would be par for the course when we were talking about them leaving hookups on the cutting room floor.
Why did we not see CT and Ashley hook up on Spas, Laws, and Allies?
Maybe
I would have watched that every day until the day I died.
Was his divorce finalized yet? Maybe that's why.
It's because they wanted to protect him, but stop that.
They only do. No. I'm gonna.
For the men. They only protect the men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't give a shit if the women get caught cheating on the show, but let's protect the men.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No. We went on and on.
we had a jolly old time.
Yeah.
I think it was relevant. Well, at least when we went on our tangent this time.
I love a good tangent. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying I should not contribute anything else. I like the episode.
Okay, everyone. Have a great week. Make sure to subscribe to us on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, wherever. Follow us. Hit the like button. Have a great week. We're signing off.
Bye now.